Welcome to SKNIS Perspectives,
an interactive program of the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, aired weekly on this radio station.
On today's edition,
we want you to explore the arts. Let's nurture the arts. Let's develop it. Let's partake of it. Let's value the professionals who are the artists and the artisans that keep culture alive. And let's promote it.
The spotlight is on culture this week as we mark 30 years of independence with the National Arts Festival. I'm Min Richards. Stay with us for Perspectives. And we're joined now by the Research and the Documentation Specialist at the Department of Culture, Marlene Phillips. And Marlene, it's always a pleasure to have you back on our program, and this time you're here to share some news with us on the National Festival.
Yes, the National Arts Festival is taking place in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis from the 9th to the 14th. And it's taking place in Independence Square, but we have a lot of different activities happening daily, not just in Basseterre, but also throughout the country as well.
So explain to our listeners what essentially is the National Arts Festival.
Well, it's a celebration of the arts that are here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We take a lot of that for granted. We don't think about people that draw and write and filmmakers and artists and designers. And so it's a time for us to focus on just that, on the visual, the performing, the literary, and the culinary arts, and to display the best of what we have, to engage the community and visitors that come to St. Kitts and Nevis in what is special about here. And during the course of the day, there's going to be different entertainment. There's going to be a stage set up in the square.
Okay, but before we go into that a bit, let's go back a bit more, all the way back to 1964, actually. That was when the National Arts Festival was originally started by our national hero, one of them, in any case, Paul Southwell. It was revived in 2002 by the then Minister of Culture, Jacinth Henry Martin. How does this festival differ, or is there any difference between what was done then and what's being done now?
The only thing that will differ is it's just a different year. Even though there was such a great span of time between the arts festival that took place in 2002 that you mentioned, it's still the same arts festival. The theme for that was revive and nurture our artists and our culture. The theme for this year is explore, nurture, promote, and the theme for this year is explore, nurture, value, and promote. So whenever you hear about the National Arts Festival, it is one and the same. The intention with this ministry is to continue every 2 years with the festival. So originally you mentioned 1964. To the best of my knowledge, that was the date when the first arts festival took place in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, mind you, that was before I was born, but I've done some reading and spoken to those who remember it and participated in it and were around at that time. And it was actually initiated by the Right Excellent Sir Caleb Azariah Paul Southwell. Now, for those who may be tuning into the program and are unfamiliar with who he is a national hero. A little bit of history about him. In 1944, he joined the sugar industry and was part of the St. Kitts and Nevis Trade and Labor Union and became the vice president in 1947. He was elected to legislature in 1952. He became Minister of Communication and Works, appointed Chief Minister in 1966. In 1967, he became Deputy Premier under Mr. Bradshaw. And then in 1978, after the passing of the Honorable Llewellyn Bradshaw, or he was appointed Premier. So he passed away in 1979. So because Mr. Southwell was so passionate about the arts, and he embraced it, and he himself was into drama and theater and was an avid reader and connoisseur of the arts, he instituted this National Arts Festival to showcase the best of the country at that time. And I think his legacy lives on, and that's why this arts festival is dedicated to the memory of him, because those who were around at the time when he was here, I'm sure fondly remember the different plays and things that he did himself.
But you actually just raised an interesting point, because it was back then, those who were around at his time, certainly there's a lot more challenges that have existed in terms of, one would be the threat from the culture, overseas culture coming here. In addition as well, the internet, technology plays a very destabilizing part that some would argue that would help to stifle the local talent and creativity that we have here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is why we're having it, because it's an opportunity for nationals and visitors to come and see what is happening now in the culture. Right now, culture is moving forward in terms of the ministry. That's our theme or our motto, culture moving forward. We understand that the culture and creative industries is a big buzzword that's been going on for a number of years, but it exists here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but we haven't really given it the credence that it deserves. We're in the process of trying to elevate the status of culture in this country, and the National Arts Festival is a way to showcase the different areas that are important, that we take for granted. For example, on Tuesday, that's deemed the Visual Arts Day with the theme Eye for Art. On that day, you can come into the square. You're going to see everything visual arts. You're going to see art exhibitions. There'll be an exhibition about Sir C.A. Paul Southwell. You can read a little bit about his history. There's going to be artists, national artists, painters who will have their artwork up. So if you don't know who they are, you can come and see who they are and what they have been producing. You're also going to see craft. The craft house will be in there, as well as other artisans that do craft. So you'll be able to see what's going on there. Visual arts does not just encompass those two areas. It's also videography. It's always photography as well. So there's going to be an assortment of that going on. So if you're not too clear about what visual arts is, come down on Tuesday and see it. It also includes graphic design. We take for granted, well, what does a graphic designer do? Produces our flyers, our logos, our booklets, our magazines, postcards, and we just kind of shove that to the side. So the Arts Week, each day is focusing on a different area. Our theme, again, explore. We want you to explore the arts, get to know what that involves in the fullest and widest scope of the word. And so there's going to be a stage there with performances, music, bands playing. The culinary arts is going to also be celebrated during the whole week. It's called our local Nyam Up. So if you are working and you're like, okay, I can't make it to this, come down during the lunch hour. There'll be entertainment on the stage. Consume some of the local food that's there and see what's going on around there. The workshops will be going on periodically, so you have to be there to get involved.
Okay. So what happens on the Wednesday?
On the Wednesday, that's deemed our Literary Arts Day, our Writer's Corner. You're going to be hearing from poets. There's going to be an opportunity to meet our local authors. So you could purchase books from the local authors and get them signed. You can engage them in conversation and discuss with them if you're interested in the topics they're writing about, or you might just want to find out how to become a writer, how to become a publisher. And plus there'll be performances, because the literary arts also includes playwrights. So I believe Poinciana Theatre will be doing a performance. Moses Byron, who's a very prolific writer here in St. Kitts, especially in the area of drama, will be there as well. So please come through and see what's happening in terms of literary arts, which is our books. If you like to read, please come down and partake of that.
Marlene Phillips is our guest on Perspectives, and we are running through some of the activities for National Arts Festival Week. National Arts Festival is being coordinated by the Department of Culture. Marlene, we touched on the first half of the week, so to speak. Let's talk a bit about this, the 12th, September 12th, Thursday.
Okay, on the Thursday, that's been coined our performance day, and we've given it the theme Plenty Pan. So for all of you steel pan lovers, please come out. You're going to see a variety of panists and different groups performing on the main stage that we have in Independence Square. There'll also be some information shared about pan. So there'll be some workshops, some people talking and discussing about the transition of pan, as well as that same evening, which we've had, I think, for the past 13 years, the Gala Night of Independence. So that takes precedent. That's still going to be held down at the old Treasury Building, which is now where the new National Museum is, on Bay Road at the foot of Fort Street. And so please come out to that. That's in the evening. Come 7, make sure you're early. And that has always been a culmination of the best talent that we have here in the Federation.
Right, persons always have a good time.
Always. If you don't come early, you are going to be standing. There's always a lot of people standing, but that doesn't bother us either. Just come down, enjoy it. It's a wonderful occasion for you to step out with your family, with your friends, and it's good, wholesome entertainment. So that's what's happening on the Thursday.
On Friday, Miss Rattan referred to it earlier. It's National Potpourri. Essentially, it is going to be such as a celebration of the culinary arts.
Yes, it's a potpourri of a culmination of everything. So you know how the previous days during the week we focus on a different area? Well, this is going to be a culmination of everything. You're going to get visual arts, you're going to get literary arts, you're going to get poets, performance, bands, music, everything wrapped into one. Culinary arts, as I said, every day of the week. Join us at lunchtime for the local Nyam Up. You're going to be able to consume some traditional local food and really get a taste of what it is to be Kitishin and Vision.
And the culminating activity, Marlene, for National Arts Festival Week is on Saturday the 14th. It's dubbed Music on the Square.
Yes, and that has been organized by our music specialist, Nigel Williams. So it's going to be, I believe from what he told me, we have the big bands there. We're going to have New Vibes, Small Axe, and I think Collision as well. And other bands are going to be performing. So make sure you come out. That's going to be the big hurrah at the end. And also a part of the Arts Festival, we're doing seminars. So the folklore and splendor that happens at the beginning of the week is actually going out to the 3 different school zones for the primary schools. So on that same day, at the same time, there's going to be folklore and splendor, which will be a combination of dance, music, and poetry at the school zones.
What are the zones?
St. Paul's, Sandy Point, and Molineux, as well as I'm in charge of doing seminars in the high schools. So we have 1-hour seminars that are under the theme I for Art. And it's going to be a variety of professionals in the creative and cultural industries presenting to high school students the fact that you can be creative and you can have a career. So we have people presenting pottery, jewelry, photography, videography, writing, wire bending, traditional music in the high schools to encourage them and engage them in developing a career or thinking about having a career in that field.
Right. I get a sense, based on a conversation we had earlier with Ms. Rattan, that there is a genuine push to have persons realize that you can generate income from this. You can be self-sustaining and be able to help to promote the country while helping yourself.
Absolutely. Do you know that the creative industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry? Multi-billion-dollar industry, and we do not partake of it the way that we should. We do not help to develop the industry as much as we should so that we can have a good return on an investment. When I'm talking about multi-billion dollar, we haven't even tapped into the areas that we should, which is the film industry.
Is that globally or is it based in the U.S.?
Well, I'm just making reference to the U.S., for example, who really support and engage the arts culture and the arts industry and really exercise it and develop it. And that's just one example, not the only example. There are many different countries, many different cultures that embrace the arts. But all I'm saying is that we need to realize here in St. Kitts and Nevis that it is a business and it is an industry that we have kind of ignored in the context of business. We don't normally think of performance art as a business. We have to change that opinion, change that perspective. So when we look at someone who says, I perform, I'm a photographer, I'm a dancer, I'm a singer, I'm a carnival craft maker, that we respect them, you know, because they are making income. When you talk about tourism, people are not going to come to the country if there's nothing to see, if there's nothing to partake of. And the way that the economy has been going today and tightening up everybody's pockets, the traveler of today wants to get value for money. So when they book their trips, when they book their vacation and they go somewhere, it's not just to lounge around. They want activities to do. And most travelers, because I am one, want to know the people, know what they're eating, know what they listen to, know where they celebrate, what they enjoy, you know, how they dress, what traditions and customs, what's their heritage, what's their history. So we have to make a conscious effort to invest money into these areas, to develop them so that we will have something to share with people when they come and visit St. Kitts and Nevis, whether it be from the Caribbean, whether it be from North America, Canada, Africa, you know, wherever people come. We want, when they come to St. Kitts and Nevis, that they taste a little bit of the culture and they walk away saying, wow, I learned something and I like it and I'm going to come back next year.
And also important to note, as you would have referred to on the last time that you were here on our program, the Department of Culture has been working with the Ministry of Trade to facilitate local performers going overseas and displaying their talent and showcasing the type of creativity that we have here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So, Marlene, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say anything final to the public to encourage them to participate in the National Arts Festival Week, which runs from September 9th to the 14th as part of our Independence 30 celebrations.
I just want to invite everybody to come. There's no cost. It's free. If you can't come during the day, come, after work. But we want you to explore the arts. We want you to help us nurture. Let's nurture the arts. Let's develop it. Let's partake of it. Let's value the professionals who are the artists and the artisans that keep culture alive. And let's promote it. Let's promote it to each other. Let's consume it. Let's share it. Let's tell other people to come, invite them to come back next year or in 2 years for the National Arts Festival and learn. I want people to come down and learn what is the creative and cultural industry? What are the arts? What is it all about? Who are the people? Who are the faces behind this? And you can also log on to our website, which is at culture.gov.kn. You can also check us out on Facebook, which is www.facebook.com/St. Kitts Culture. We're on Twitter as well. Again, just search for St. Kitts Culture. Google or whatever search engine you use, search for St. Kitts Culture, all one word, and you will find our social networks. So just log on to one of those sites and see what's going on. We're always posting different activities that we are hosting as well as what the wider community is engaged in. So you'll always know what's going on in the Federation.
Marlene Phillips of the Department of Culture, always a pleasure to have you on our program.
Thank you, Ian. I'm glad to be here.
Before we leave, we wanted to share with you another exciting first for our independence celebrations. The idea is one which will transport things from our past into the future. A snapshot in time, so to speak. Here's Sharon Rattan, chair of the Independence 30 celebrations.
Time capsules are exciting things. They are very good teaching strategies. We're looking at a container of anything from the past or current where we are now that we can bury, or now that we've done more research, we may have to mount it above ground, but it can be either and locked away. So we're thinking that in the next 20 years, when we're 50 years old, we open that. So those of us can see whoever is there to open, and those who we have left behind can see what life was like. So it could be a newspaper article talking about what was being discussed. It could be a picture. It could be pictures of any events. It could be a piece of clothing. If you have an old phone, it could be the type of phone you were using. It ranges from everything. It could be a type of shoe, a particular design, anything.
So is it specifically limited to 2013, or can they go back as far as maybe 1980s, maybe 1990s?
Of course, you can go back. But we want, when that container is opened, that we can use it as an exciting learning tool. Going through it, look at what was here, and then the stories would follow. So people can have an appreciation of what life was like before, or what was happening 20 years ago.
And how is the committee handling the submissions? Because I would imagine persons would be able to submit pieces. How is that process going to be done?
Well, at this time, we are going to be doing some mobilizing. So within the next week, we are going to hear how you can submit. Because there were discussions. It was so exciting. We thought of one capsule, but now the discussion is we have to zone the countries. And we have to do one in St. Kitts, or several in St. Kitts, and several in Nevis.
Sharon Rattan, bringing our program to a close. Join us next week as we highlight National Pride Week with the men and women of the St. Kitts Nevis Defence Force and Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. For now, I'm Ian Richards.
We're pleased that you joined us for this edition of SKNIS Perspectives. Join us every week at this same time on this radio station.
This program is produced by the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.